What are you still doing here? Aren't we done with the semester? Shouldn't you gone somewhere else? I know, Mr. Petrella screwed up. I'm well aware. I didn't really screw up. There were some issues with the calendar in case you missed it. And as a result, I just kept steamrolling ahead that way. Well, you know what? If you got done, you got done. Good for you. And you've got very little to do this week. Otherwise, this week gives you a perfect chance to catch up on things. Don't forget that it is this week, the last week, that everything is due in this class, right? We've got the Module 4 checklist, which actually was not due last week. It was due this week, with the quiz for chapters 27 through 30, and also the discussion group that basically was focusing on this idea of the Rainbow Coalition during the 1980s and this new kind of sense of who America might be moving forward to the future. Speaking of which, you do have one little exercise you got left to take care of. And it's just basically that, a little bit of a reflection about where you think this country's going. When you get all of that done, make sure you get it all turned in. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. But then remember, the last thing you have to do is your final exam. The final exam is structured just like the midterm, in the sense that there's an essay that you have to complete and submit before you take the multiple choice. If you've gotten a chance, once you get all the Module 4 complete, you can look at this essay and prepare it just like you did the midterm. It focuses on this idea of the impact of World War II on not just changing the role of America in the world, but changing American society, looking at relationships between minority groups and the majority of Americans, looking at the way the paranoia that comes out of fighting that war affects America, the economics, all of that stuff. How did America get changed socially coming out of World War II? After you get done with that, after you submit it, you can go ahead and take the multiple choice. It's a little longer than what we saw in the midterm exam. It is the final after all, and it is cumulative, meaning there are questions from throughout the semester, chapters 16 through 30. But it does primarily focus on the material that has basically been chapter 23 through 30. In other words, everything we've done since the midterm. What it is there's some standardized assessments I have to take care of, and they still show up on the earlier chapters. So what I would do if I were you, again, I would use the quizzes as the core to my study guide as I prepare for this exam. And really, for everything from chapters 16 through 22, I really wouldn't move much past the quizzes at all. I would really focus on those because there isn't a lot of stuff. It's just the stuff I have to put on there from chapters 16 through 22. And most all that stuff showed up on quizzes as well. Then, yeah, I would expand my studying on chapters 23 through 30, not only to include the quizzes, but also to look back through those slideshows a little bit, any notes you took, and think a little harder on those things. You guys did a great job with the midterm exams, so I have full confidence that you can do well on the final exam. Once you've completed that, and it must be done by next Wednesday, okay, by May 4th, by the end of the semester. When you get those things all done and turned in, the semester's over. And to be honest, it's been great. I've had a really good time working with many of you in the chat sessions and in this class, and I hope that it's been useful to you. It's always a little awkward when it's a completely online class because we don't actually really see each other at all. So it's hard for me to gauge where you're at, what you're feeling. But I hope that if you have been engaged in this class, that you have learned a little bit of something and it's given you a new perspective and understanding of American history, its role in your life, and your role in it. Take care and have a wonderful rest of your college career.